What's going on, guys? Abdul here again. And what I want to talk to you about today is living life with purpose. What do I mean by that? I talked about it in a video before about this edge. You know, I can't watch a whole basketball game at all because if I watch the basketball game, one, the first thing that comes to mind is I'm wasting my time. I could be doing something productive. I haven't made where I want to go, and I know some of you guys are saying, "Well, you got to have fun in life." Yes, but the type of fun I want to have is learning. When I learn, I'm having fun, and I know it sounds geeky like, but I'm a geek. I'm proud to say it now. Couldn't say it many years ago, but I'm proud to be one. I am an analyzer, and I'm proud of it. And one of my analyzations is that I know for a fact that LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all were in. They had that edge. Now, what is this edge that I speak about? And edge and purpose of life and all that is how is that all connected? You ever saw something? He said, "Man, you're naturally good at," or somebody saw you and said, "You're naturally good at." Now, what do they mean when they say naturally? It's something that's inside of you that you didn't necessarily put there, but whatever you do, it's that thing. Now, let me ring home with this and tell a story. My sister is doing good for herself. She's in IT, was in the nursing field, and some other things. But if you ask me today, and this is where the ball dropped. When I went to the military, before I went to military, I was like a track coach. And I only had one client. That was my sister. The way I train, and I didn't even know I was training her. You see, and I'll tell this story one day in my life, but my sister and I basically was raised by our grandparents. My mother was there, but she had to move and go to another city to get a better job. Jobs in our area weren't really abundant. And while she was gone, my sister and we grew up in a rural area and we had a lot of land. And I would do these things like, "Hey, I'm going to race." And we didn't race with any shoes on. And I would say, "I'd give you a head start." And she would take off running. Boom. And I didn't know that more and more and more that I work with her, it became harder and harder to beat her. Now, I wasn't a great runner, but I got pride on beating my sister. Now, that made her better. When they would have these events at her school, she would get first in running, second in jumping bags. She was athletic. She would beat up. It was boys all around, and I was her trainer who would fight me. I had her fight guys who now are gangsters, and she would beat their butt. So I remember going into the military, and then she moved my mom and said, "Hey," I told her one thing: keep her in track, because I knew for a fact that my sister could have been in the Olympics and great at the Olympics. She just had that natural knack. She was a tomboy. She could, if she put those shoelaces on and you lined it up with her, you were losing no matter what, right? But she didn't want to do it, and my mom didn't want to force her, which is, you can't force somebody to do something. But boy, could she have been all over, because she was disciplined too. That's another. She had the discipline. She didn't get in no trouble. But yeah. So what I'm trying to say is, when you find that thing inside of you, go for it. Don't overthink it. Just tell yourself every day, "I'm going to get up and develop it." That's all you got to do, is tell yourself you're going to get up and develop that thing. Do that. I promise you, I don't care how old you are. I had a guy I knew that said, "You know what? I wish I could have gotten good at that saxophone." Now, we became better at that saxophone. I said gotten good. That's not even a word. But I said became better at that saxophone. Now, he told me that about 10 years ago. And this guy is still alive today. So if he would have started the next day, and now he probably could have been a master at the saxophone. But his mission statement was, I wish I would have done the saxophone and I could have been great. So he's already counseled himself out of the situation. Now, are you going to counsel yourself? Because let me just tell you something. I got to say this. This age thing, get that out of your vocabulary. Get that out of your thinking. And women, stop being embarrassed about your age. Why? Because one, you're going to die. All of us. You're born dying. Two, embrace it. It's a part of life. The fact that you don't embrace that the clock is ticking now, you're living a false sense of reality. You're having a false sense of reality when it comes to life. So if you really want to embrace life, embrace the happy. Embrace the problems. Embrace that you will die. So give her hell before you die. Just as simple as that. Right? So if you got a purpose, which I know you do. Now, let me just say this. Some of you may say, well, what about the people who have, who are autistic? The people who are born with no legs, no arms? One of the top 10 speakers in the world today has no legs, no arms, and married to a woman who has both arms, both legs, and is from Australia, drives a car now, had the car designed to his fitting, and is living life. A guy like that could have grew up thinking, why did you do this to me, God? The parents could have said, why did you do? Look, the guy can swim. He grew up with parents who believed in him. So to hell with what you have. You're in a wheelchair. So what? You were a star. You were a star in basketball, a star in football. Now you're in a wheelchair. Now be great at that, because maybe that was just one of the things. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the first known Renaissance men. But that doesn't mean that there are women and men that have other skills, but they just don't do it. You get stopped when you look at that newspaper and you start finding that job. You get comfortable and you're stuck. And I want to just end this with this. I was speaking with a gentleman over the weekend, and he was talking about he's not getting paid what he's worth. But the job that he's been at has been for many years. So I asked the number one question. Why aren't you looking for another job? I think it's just this comfort thing. Then after that, I stopped listening. And the reason why is because you've already counseled yourself out. If you want to get better, take the first steps and get better. But if you want to stay in a certain situation and complain about it every time, and if I hear the complaining, I'm going to leave the room, because I can't take any of that negative energy. I have been around so many people who have said, you can't do what you want to do. You can't travel out of the country. You can't be a coach. You can't be that. And as soon as I hear it, I leave. I'm not going to try to prove it to them. It's not for them. It's me. It's proving it to myself. When I was a kid and got caught all the time talking to myself as I was giving speeches. Did you hear that? As I was giving speeches, my mom called me so much time that finally I would catch her listening to the speeches. And any organization that had us, like I joined the FFA, only black guy, and that didn't matter to me. But in my town, it was like that. People did the racism thing. I went to rodeos. I did all that. I wasn't a cowboy. I was just like, look, I respect your culture, respect mine. And I wasn't a hip hop guy. I was just into my thing. And if they had this part, there was a vice president. For those of you who's in FFA know what I'm talking about. I signed up because I knew it was a speaking engagement, and I knew that if you put me in a crowd amongst people, I'm going to win my part. The rest better bring it, but that's what I'm going to bring. I'm going to speak loudly, I'm going to speak clearly, and I'm going to speak with passion. Right? Your thing could be writing. You could be the LeBron James of writing, the LeBron James of painting. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, be that. Sadness will come upon you if you try to keep that crazy passion, because passion makes you raise your voice. Passion makes you go the extra mile because you can't control that beast inside of you. And if you don't use it, I promise you, sadness will come. A lot of depression that you may have today may be that passion that has been beating you up and you haven't used it. So, with that said, good people, thank you. I hope you spend time finding your purpose in life. Please, I do. So, with that said, thank you. And until next time, signing off.